All right, what is up, internet? It's your boy Alan back with another video, and today I'm in beautiful Fort Greene Park in Brooklyn. Very much a vibe. 3:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. Nobody's out here. Well, there's people out here, but definitely way less packed than it would be on a weekend. And in today's video, I want to talk about how I use AI as a product marketing manager. So for context, I've been interviewing as a product marketing manager, and basically every interview process, somebody asked me how I use AI as a product marketing manager. And I also used to work at an AI company until I got laid off. So I have a good understanding of how AI is used in specifically enterprise workflows, but it was also an AI native company, so we were really encouraged to use AI tools. So for me, I initially began using basically just ChatGPT, and I thought it was pretty cool how it could spit out paragraphs, write me sentences, help me tighten certain messages up, or just give it a prompt of write me a blog about marketing or something, and it would spit something out. And as a novice user of it, I was like, this is fucking sick. I could just ask it to do anything. But what I quickly came to realize was a lot of the information was very generic, and for writing to stand out, basically in any context, whether you're storytelling or writing messaging or copy, especially in the product marketing role, you need to make sure that it's very specific. And I went down this whole rabbit hole where I began using AI, specifically for ChatGPT, and I would create these project files in ChatGPT. I would upload all the context it needs. For example, if I'm working on something around financial services for a marketing campaign, I would share all the financial services market context with it, any customer information or details, transcripts. I would share our product information in terms of how it relates to financial services and how it's used. And then I'll begin to work in prompt with it. And I think that gave me more specific responses, but still I felt like the writing was very robotic sounding, even though I told it to talk in a natural language. And for ChatGPT writing specifically, it has this common practice of it writes a sentence and then there's like a bunch of commas tied to it. And I felt like more fluid writing, it's more linear, it's less choppiness, if you will. And I found that Perplexity actually has more of a conversational sounding tone to it versus ChatGPT, but that's just for all you marketing people out there or people that need to create content. Perplexity is actually pretty good at writing, I'd say, in a more natural tone. But beyond the point, a lot of the work in product marketing have to create like white papers and data sheets, and you would assume that you can just ask it to create a white paper and it'll spit out something pretty damn great. And you're wrong, because it spits out something pretty damn generic and it sounds like a freaking robot wrote it. It's pretty clear, especially my ex-manager. She was super detail oriented and she can pick up on it. And frankly, I spent a lot more of my time reviewing the AI outputs, and it caused me, I'm consuming so much context and like testing different LLMs and seeing what writes better. And sometimes I think about, man, it might have been better if I just wrote it from scratch. But I do find that AI, especially in the product marketing context, when content creation, messaging, and positioning are really big core parts of the role, that it can help you generate ideas pretty well. Like, I didn't even think about that idea. You can prompt it like, generate me 5 blog title ideas, or how should I think about a different angle. I think it's a good thought partner in that sense. When you actually ask it to generate the content, that's when it gets kind of dicey and not super high quality. So sometimes I honestly find that if I just start from scratch, it's better. But from my experience, AI always gets me 80% of the way there, and then I have to look through the slop and fix it. And I think that's also a thing where it might be actually hard for very entry-level people to enter the job market now. But I don't know, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just thinking for like a mid-level experience, I have more context in terms of what good looks like and more domain expertise on product marketing in specific industries, so I can ask more specific questions, or I know what good and bad looks like. I feel like that might be hard for entry level when you're using AI. And I also shared examples in my other videos, like you can watch this AI video, I'll pop it up right here, where I asked it to create a slide deck or a podcast on my life, and it did a pretty good job of making something look really polished and professional, but there's these small details that it got wrong. It just made up completely whole new details about my life I never shared with it. And for these AI slide decks, the thing is, you can't edit like a small piece of it. You're gonna have to ask it to regenerate the entire slide deck, and then a lot AI, they usually don't produce the same output because it's not deterministic. It's probabilistic in terms of how it functions. So if I ask it to regenerate the entire slide deck about my life, I bet you there usually will be other parts that are different or wrong. And then it's just like course correcting to hopefully you get something right. So I noticed that's a huge issue. And I also noticed when I was working with customers, they ran into issues where the outputs would just be so inconsistent, and they would actually end up doing more work in terms of reviewing the AI content and fixing it. So it kind of negated the productivity gains that people market it as. But what I think AI is really good at for product marketing workflows, and I think in general too, is getting you up to speed on some quick research facts. Like I've been interviewing, I begin to ask it questions about, tell me about what this product does at a high level, or simplify this down, explain it to me like I'm 5. And it really helps me understand concepts more clearly. And I can ask questions to it if I want to learn, for example, about this new fraud product, because I don't know shit about fraud. And I'll share with it exactly what product it is. Now I'll begin to ask the questions like, explain it to me like 5. And then I'll go back and say, is it like this? And then it tells me yes or no. And that kind of helps me learn more quickly. And I think it really does a good job of speeding up that research process at a high level. But if you want to get really more in depth, then you're going to have to probably do more advanced tactics, like actually speaking to users or customers and whatnot. What I do find AI really good at is automations of very simple workflows that don't require too much creativity or even strategy. Sometimes the strategic thinking is okay on some of the models. That's the issue of where sometimes I go back to it because I was like, damn, that's a good insight. Maybe we can do it again. It's maybe 20% of the time right. So it kind of keeps you hooked because it'd be like, oh man, it's so smart sometimes. And you want to go back to it to get that really good, smart answer. But the workflows I trust AI to do for me that I used to do more manually is opening my inbox. I just ask it to look through my email inbox, summarize everything I need to do, all the tasks I need to get done, and then it will spit back out, here are the key action items for you. So I felt like it does a really good job with those small automations. I shared an example of pulling the transcripts from YouTube videos just by sharing the link was really good. You can share a link of a blog and it can read that blog and it has all that context there. I think that's really good. I also set up some automations inside of Codex to send me email alerts of certain recruiter emails. I use a different SaaS tool where I asked it to send me an email alert anytime there is a updated job posting on this company's website every Monday. And guess what? I never got an update. The automation just never happened. So I was like, God damn it. But I think there's small automations like that, like checking your inbox, or even if you get it to, if you have like a sentence there, the structure is there, and you just need to tighten up like small fragments missing, you can ask it to like tighten this part up, give me 10 different options. You can choose the best option, but you still need the nuts and bolts there, I've realized. So I think AI, as a product marketing manager, you really have to learn how to use it correctly, because sometimes it just generates some bullshit and you might just start from zero. And then on the AI coding front, obviously I'm not a coder, and I know a lot of people are saying there's like a SaaS apocalypse and all these SaaS stocks are going down because you can just vibe code your own Salesforce CRM. And I think, sure, maybe you could, but who's going to maintain all that? Who's going to update it with features? Who's going to make sure there's no bugs? Who's going to make sure the site doesn't go down? You kind of need a whole team to do that. I was talking about vibe coding, and I'm interviewing for a lot of technical companies. So I figured it'd be good for me as a product marketing manager to possibly vibe code different solutions. And I was vibrating the solutions. I was like, it gives me a good feel. It's definitely like a 70% product, and I could see like the UI and like the buttons and how it works. But I'm not a coder, so I can't like fix a button if it's not working correctly. I have to go into the code and fix it, and I don't know how that looks. And even if I would prompt it to fix a certain button, it would still be wrong. Maybe I need to prompt it better, but that just goes to my point of, I think AI is a great tool. It gets you 80% of the way there. You have to know when to use it in certain use cases. You have to know what LLMs are better at what thing. Like I said, ChatGPT has like a very robotic tone of writing. I realized Perplexity has a good conversational writing tone that I appreciate. If you're a coder, I'm assuming you use Claude Code, but maybe there's other tools. But that's just my experience of using AI as a product marketing manager, and figured I wanted to share those learnings with you guys, and hope you found the video helpful, and thanks for tuning into the Stream of Thought. Peace.